My name is Michel Pham. I teach the core course in marketing strategy and also teach an elective on strategic consumer insight. My research focuses on consumer psychology primarily in two major areas: how consumers process information and how they make judgments and decisions. In this area is that many years ago when I was a graduate student, there was this big literature that was ignoring the role of feelings and emotions in decisions. And whenever I encountered something, it was mostly by saying, well, it's not helpful or irrelevant. So, knowing human behavior around me, I did not really square well with my own intuition and my own understanding of how it actually worked, and my own reading in other fields of the literature. So I tried to study more carefully what is the exact role of feelings and emotions in judgments and decisions. And as I studied this subject, I found that, in fact, consumers use their things a lot more than we really give them credit for. And B, when they use them, it's not necessarily hurting them, it's often helping them. And so I'm trying to understand when it is helping them, when it's hurting them to do that. And that has been the focus of my research in the last 15, 20 years. Another stream of research many years ago that was quite different, which was on the subject of source identification, which has to do with how do consumers know where something is coming from. So whether it's an ad, a product, or a message, or an event, and they have to make a determination that this event was sponsored by this company, or this ad was put out by this other company, or this product is really made by this other company. And this is something that at that time nobody was really interested in, and I started focusing on. It turned out a bit later that there was one domain in which there was a lot of relevance for this type of research, which is a domain of trademark disputes, because a lot of companies out there in the real world fight each other out whenever one company is deemed to be copying another company a bit too closely. And so there's, of course, a potential for the consumers to be confused and not to know which company is doing what. And so there's a lot of my work has been used in that context. My Strategic Consumer Insight course is really about trying to understand the psychology of consumers and what really resonates with them, what makes them click with certain companies, certain brands, certain products, certain forms of communication. And that set of questions is very psychological, and that's something that when I teach this course, probably 50%, 60% of the materials that I teach to the students come from research, whether it's my own or someone else's research. I would say probably 20% of that is my own research, another 30% is coming from other people's research. So there's a lot of rooms for sharing what I've learned from my work with the students. And in fact, there was more rooms than I thought when I was doing that research, and that I recently discovered when I started preparing that course.